Assemblyman Weber. Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On the bill.
Bill, Assemblyman.
Madam Speaker, I rise in opposition to this bill because I think it's unnecessary, I think it's unfair, and I think ultimately it's counterproductive. We appreciate the sponsor's intent to try to create jobs and stimulate the economy in New Jersey. We just think there's a better way to do it. Now, as I understand it, this bill would provide a refundable tax credit of up to $50,000 to people of high net worth so that to encourage them to make investments in New Jersey businesses in emerging technology fields. I think the bill is unnecessary, Madam Speaker, because we already have these investments being made in New Jersey every year. The estimate is over $1 billion, $1.2 billion in this kind of angel investments are being made in New Jersey companies every year already. And the reason those investments are being made is because there are some very, very smart, very, very successful, very, very high net worth individuals who make a lot of money doing just what we are trying to encourage them to do, and that is find and try to pick emerging technologies and businesses that are going to succeed and make it big, give them a little bit of investment, nurture them along through the developing stages, and hopefully become successful enterprises. Of course, the angel investor gets out of that, I'm sure, a lot of personal satisfaction for seeing something grow. The angel investor also gets something else out of that, and that is considerable profits from making these investments. And so that's why these investments are already being made, and I'm not sure, and in fact I'm fairly certain, we don't need to subsidize those decisions because they're already being made by people who are much smarter and better at this than we are. But I think that the program that's proposed is also unfair. It's not only unnecessary but unfair because, again, this is a refundable tax credit, so it's basically a cash payment we're making to these high net worth individuals. So that means we're taking the tax dollars from some people in this state, some people who are perhaps making minimum wage. I think later today there'll be a vote on the board to raise the minimum wage. We're going to tax people who are making minimum wage, tax people who are working class, middle class, and we're going to send that money to the fabulously successful and the fabulously wealthy investors who are going to make those, all to subsidize decisions they were already going to make with their capital. So I think that's unfair to many, many taxpayers in the state. I also think it's unfair for people who work or entrepreneurs in any sector that wouldn't be defined as an emerging technology business in the state. Remember, these tax credits are only for a certain small, select sliver of our economy. So, to my mind, why should we tax the startup tire company or the startup lumber company in the state? Why should we tax a startup office supply company to subsidize somebody else in another sector? I also think it's unfair because there's no limitation, as I read the bill, on what a taxpayer is. A taxpayer under this bill gets up to $50,000 of a tax credit. But there's no requirement that that taxpayer has to live in New Jersey. So you could have the taxpayers of New Jersey, the people making minimum wage in New Jersey, having their tax dollars taken by the state and sent out of state to fabulously wealthy and successful individuals, all to subsidize decisions they were already going to make. I just don't think that this is the way we should be subsidizing stimulating our economy. Madam Speaker, I think this bill is unnecessary and unfair, but I also think it's counterproductive because for every time we do something like this, we distract from what we really should be doing, which is promoting policies to promote real job creation in the state. We're spending money unnecessarily and taking our attention away from the only tried and true way we know how to create jobs that will stimulate the economy, and that is limiting the size and scope of our state government and letting New Jerseyans, and I mean all New Jerseyans, whether they make minimum wage, whether they're middle class, or whether they're fabulously successful and wealthy, let all New Jerseyans keep more of their money in the first place and stop the government from trying to pick winners For those reasons, Madam Speaker, I oppose this bill.
Thank you, Assemblyman Weber. Madam Clerk, open the machine